Saturday Social, brought to you by EA Sports FC with PlayStation 5.
To draw our attention to Liverpool, the Arne Slot rumours really picking up pace. Worth pointing out, it hasn't officially been announced, but highly likely that
Worst kept secret in football.
Exactly, highly likely will be the next Liverpool manager. And it got us thinking, didn't it, about our next section, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got two football experts on the show, so we thought we would get Dougie and Fuad's list of 5 potential signings Arne Slot could make this summer to take them from, the title race to potentially title winners.
OK.
We're going to go from 5, the least important, up to 1, the most important.
Yeah, OK. So 5th signing you think they need to make, as Joe said there. Least important starting first. Who's number 5? Who have you got?
Hold them up. Feel free to both hold them up at the same time.
I've gone for Victor Osimhen.
Oh,
this is a rogue shout, dude.
It's bold.
It's not a cheap signing.
This is not cheap at all. This is not cheap at all. I'll dive straight into it. There is question marks over Darwin Núñez and his ability to get Liverpool to over the line in titles. This year, I think he's taken over 100 shots in the Premier League, just 11 goals. For a top striker, you need to be converting about 1 in 5. At the moment, he's 1 in 10. Jude Bellingham this year is 1 in 3. Darwin Núñez is just not getting the numbers you'd expect for someone. I think he's raw, I think he's exciting, but there's potential that they do need to upgrade in that area. I have got this as my 5th most important one, because it will be expensive, and I would like to see Darwin Núñez being given a further opportunity. But this guy was absolutely exceptional for Napoli last year. 31 goals in all competitions. Even this year, when he's had a few injuries, 16 goals. I think he's got the physical attributes to really thrive in the Premier League. And I think he is a step up on Darwin Núñez. And there was so much talk about him last summer. He will be expensive, but I think the fact he's taken a small dip in performance this year means he might not be as expensive as people think. Napoli outside the Champions League, I think he'd be ready for a move as well.
Got that big release clause, though, isn't they? And do you think Napoli will just hold people to that release clause?
Potentially. I mean, they've got a few financial issues themselves. They talked very highly about what they were going to sell Kim Min-jae for last summer. They then ended up selling a lot lower. I think they probably need to redevelop that side in certain areas. It's getting certainly quite old in places. I think he could also push for a move. As I say, I'd like to stick with Núñez, but if they were looking to move on from him, he'd be my first choice.
14 goals, 3 assists and 22 league appearances this season. You've gone for a very different player.
Yeah, I've gone for left-back Milos Kerkez, who I think at Bournemouth this season has been one of their real standout players.
Yes.
And I'm looking at Arne Slot reign as almost like a new era. So it's replacing a lot of the guys who Klopp has relied on. Robertson, for example.
I was going to say, he's only 30 years of age, Andy Robertson.
He is 30, but you're almost starting to feel the wear and tear of the Premier League on him, and he's been, I feel like, one of their most used players during Klopp's era. There's going to come a time when you need to replace him, and I think Kerkez, for me, the way he's settled in at Bournemouth this year, the quality that he has on the ball and off the ball, I think he could be a like-for-like replacement straight away.
Yeah.
OK.
Bournemouth just so exceptional. I think they've taken the 5th most points in the last 25 across the last 25 league fixtures, which is just, partly down to players like Milos Kerkez. Absolutely exceptional. Let's go to 4th then. 4th on the importance list.
Do you want to go first, Phil?
Going along the theme of replacing guys who've been long-serving, this would be Virgil van Dijk's long-term.
Wow, so you're saying you'd get rid of Virgil this summer?
I'm not saying get rid of. I'm saying prepare.
We will keep it up.
Yes.
Say that, yeah.
We'll take him at West Ham.
But you never know what could happen in the summer. We saw Saudi Arabia, what they were able to do to the Premier League and raid them last year. Who knows? They might come back and take a few of Liverpool's older players. But I think Lenny Euro, one of the most exciting young players.
Only 18 years of age as well.
Only 18, but the way this kid defends kind of reminds me of young Varane. Very raw, comes through, very athletic, but very unorthodox because he's so tall and kind of gangly in the way he tackles in defence. I think he'd be a shoo-in and a long-term.
How much will he be, do you think?
I mean, Madrid are rumoured to be kind of in the driving seat for this, but then I look at Madrid, they've got Rudiger, they've got Alaba, they've got so many options.
Militao still in there.
Militao just coming back from injury. I wonder if you could maybe sell him, come and be Virgil's right-hand man, and Konate's long-term, partner. Would that be a better option?
OK, Dukes.
This one's quite niche. Basically, I'm thinking that Kelleher might push for a move this summer. He was linked with Nottingham Forest in January. He's been linked with Wolves in the past as well. I think he has proven himself to be a number 1. Now, a backup goalkeeper I always think is almost impossible to recruit for because you want them to be good enough to step in and the team doesn't drop off too much in quality, but you don't want them to be so good that they're creates a narrative about why he's not starting. Marco Konosecki has emerged as Atalanta's number 1 this year. He's played pretty much every minute since about November time. Really solid shot stopper. He's 6'5", played for Cremonese last year as they struggled in Serie A, but got that move back to Atalanta. He was on loan at Cremonese, and he's really stepped in really effectively this year. I think he is only 23, so he can get a lot better as well. And again, this is a guy with really high potential. I think his save percentage is around 73% this year. He's performed really admirably, and I think he's good enough to be Liverpool's backup without displacing Alisson.
Do you know what? I have to be honest, when I saw that on this, I was very surprised with the goal,
same.
given the fact that they've got Alisson and Kelleher. They are so blessed with two top keepers. And Alisson's only 31 years of age.
I'm just
I was very
imagining
surprised
who is likely to leave this summer, and I think Kelleher, there's a decent chance that he pushes for a move. I think on the basis of his performances this year, I think he's proven that he's good enough to be a Premier League #1. And does he want to go back to being Alisson's backup, who's only 30? Alisson's got another few years left. I think they might need a backup goalkeeper. Again, it's quite niche, but I'm just planning ahead.
OK, niche, but stick them up. That is your fourth choice. Another talented Italian keeper, by the way. The likes of Donnarumma, Vicario. Got a lot of good Italian keepers in their reigns, of course. Third, we're getting more and more important now. So these are the ones that, if Arne Slot's watching, that he really needs to be glued into. Who have you gone with as your third?
Gone with David Hanko. He plays for Feyenoord at the moment, so under Arne Slot at the moment. I think when you join a new club like Liverpool, it's really important to have a player that knows your system inside out. This is a 6'2", 25-year-old centre-back who can also play at left-back. And in Arne Slot's system, the right-back often inverts and the left-back comes back as a sort of left-sided centre-back. That feels perfect for Trent on the right-hand side, but I don't think that role necessarily suits Robertson that well. So I do think they need someone that can play as an as sort of coming back inside, covering as a left-sided centre-back, and can play also as that that centre-back as well. Left-footed, you know, Virgil van Dijk, as we've already talked about, is 31 now. Looks like he's coming towards the end of his career. I think this guy, incredible passer on the ball. Most passes completed in the entirety of the Eredivisie, and I like the fact he already knows Arne Slot's system.
OK. Michael Elise, a player that we know well.
Yeah, someone who knows the Premier League really well, and I think you're never going to find a like-for-like Salah replacement. I think this summer's probably going to be the summer where he maybe makes a move to Saudi, and I couldn't think of anyone who's more fit to replace him. And
Jared Bowen.
Don't.
Not a bad shout.
I don't want to give him any ideas. Arne Slot might not have thought about West Ham, and you just put that out there.
You know Jared Bowen well. Jared Bowen's a fantastic player. Would that be a good fit, Jared, to Liverpool?
Yes, he could get in any team in the world. Of course he could get in Liverpool. Stick to these hipster picks.
Hipster fix.
Yeah.
You don't want to see that, I'm guessing.
The thing with Michael Elise, you might question, though, is his availability.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And that's where I think, though, the fact that they've got Harvey Elliott there already, him and Harvey Elliott could be a perfect kind of creative replacement, if you like, for Salah. You might not get the goals, but I think in terms of creativity, one of the best raw talents in the Premier League, in my opinion.
Only played 32% of possible minutes in the Premier League this season due to recurrent hamstring injuries. So that is the problem that he has, isn't it, unfortunately?
And I've said, the day we see one full season from him of injury-free, you're going to see a very,
with that,
very
though, 7
player.
goals and 4 assists in the Premier League with that, which is incredible numbers. OK, stick them up. Number 3. So we're now getting into the main picks.
Reported he has a buyout clause as well, doesn't
Yes.
he? Which does make him a little bit more attainable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who have you got next? Anyone gone with Lucas Paquetá, maybe? Can he do it? You see
I
that?
think he's already gone, hasn't he?
I've gone with...
Wow, this is the big... How much money you got? How much money have you got?
It's
Newcastle fans, throw it
I mean,
in.
Mo Salah's going to get a fair bit in the summer, so I think...
Do you think Mo Salah goes in the summer?
goals, yeah. I think Mo Salah's leaving in the summer, and I think this is where your goals come in. I think the Darwin project hasn't really turned out, and I think if you're looking for a surefire replacement, someone who's going to guarantee you goals, similar like Elise, if those two can give you a full fit season, you're looking at arguably some of the best players in the Premier League for me. So I think him, dream signing.
How much do you...
That'd be a sideways move, though, wouldn't it?
Would it?
Wouldn't it? Well, Newcastle are on the up.
Newcastle fans,
I think it was Newcastle
Liverpool fans, both furious this morning. Yeah.
They will, yeah.
But Newcastle with FFP and everything, they could be kind of going through maybe having to make some sales this summer, and I'm thinking he could be one that is a big cash grab for them potentially.
Do you think Salah goes this summer? I noticed you were nodding your head when he said that.
I reckon so, yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Interesting. Dougie, who you gone with?
I went with Leroy Sané. I really did consider Elise, but his injury record sort of counted against him. Look, I think replacing Salah is an almost impossible job. I think he's scored 23 goals in every season he's been there. He scored over 34 times. But Leroy Sané has a slightly better injury record than Elise, and a maybe little bit more of a proven quality in the Premier League as well. In his last 2 fit seasons in the Premier League, over 10 goals and 10 assists in each of them, then had that injury hit year, then moved to Bayern. And people sort of, look down on his record at Bayern. I mean, even this year, 19 league goals and assists.
Yeah.
That sensational goal in midweek, I think, just reminded everyone how explosive this guy is.
Yeah.
Can play on the left, can play on the right. And I don't think he'd be potentially as expensive as someone like Isak as well. So I think he's ready-made to instantly hit the ground running.
What do you think about Sané's little dip? Because he's only scored 1 goal, hasn't he, since is it November?
Yeah, this is still really solid though, and I think he did. He went off like a rocket. This
Yeah,
year. I think he was pretty much probably the outstanding winger in the world up until about November, December time, and he does have that reputation of slightly dipping towards the end of the year. He's not as consistent as Salah, but I don't think you're going to find anyone in world football who's consistent as Salah.
Yeah.
I mean, Salah probably goes down as the best right winger in Premier League history, I reckon.
Ooh, OK, stick him on.
Shout.
just dropping that in there.
Sané and Isak. Can you see either happy though?
Dropping that in
Sané and Isak. Sané seems happy at Bayern. I'm interested to see who they've gone with as the most important signing that Arne Slot should
An agreement.
make. And you've both in agreement with João Paulinho. Fuad, why João?
I think they missed out on him last year. I think the missing cog in their midfield, I think defensive midfield this season, we've looked at it and said they papered over the cracks, but eventually it has kind of...
Endo's done a good job, though, hasn't it?
Endo's done a good job, I feel like, in being a stopgap, but I think Paulinho, 28, the way he's played for Fulham the past 2 seasons, clear and their best player, in my opinion. And I think the level of experience and quality he just brings, it's just a shoe-in. It's a win-now remedy.
Most tackles in the Premier League this season.
Again.
Premier League goals as well, yeah.
He's the guy that I wanted West Ham to get when Declan went.
When Declan went.
There was big rumours that he was good. I think now he's had the season he's just had with Fulham. I don't think there's any chance West Ham would even be in that ballpark now. But last year, I think we had a chance of getting him, and I'm gutted that we didn't.
Yeah,
Edson Alvarez has been quality,
awesome.
but this guy's next level.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah, for sure. I also think respect to him for dealing with the fallout of that failed move to Bayern. You know,
in January.
He was in Munich on deadline day
With a kit on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I felt so sorry for him. But yeah, to put together the season that he has, he's also just he slots straight in. There's no adaptation time. There's no Endo taking 3 or 4 months to get used to it. There's no McAllister playing out of position. He's one of the outstanding defensive midfielders in the league, and I don't think there's going to be as much competition for him this year. I think he's an absolute surefire fit.
OK, both agree. Stick him on.
Can I suggest one person?
Go on.
Jadon Sancho.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Skipping across the divide, It's rarely done. It's rarely seen from Manchester.
What do you reckon?
Interesting shout to end it on that.
Based on nothing at all, just
I like
there. Think about it.
There is a confirmation of the 5 players that Fuad and Dougie think Arne Slot should sign for Liverpool. Let us know what you think of that at home.